Good. Good evening, everyone. Gary Gabagool here with my boy Sal, and we're putting a little intro here. This is a song not a lot of people are gonna know, maybe for the hardcore metalheads, but this was supposedly the virtuoso, and it sounds just like Eddie, but he came out of LA, a guy named George Lynch with a band called Dokken. But if you're not familiar with this intro, basically it's, I guess, his version of Eruption, and it kicks ass pretty good, and he does some fucking mean-ass tapping on this thing. So he goes into a pretty cool intro here, and this is live, so that even makes it more impressive.
When is this?
This is 1982, Berlin, Germany.
Woo!
And there's someone on my Facebook named Victor Coleman, and he used to work at a place called Mickey Music. So what's up, Vic? And Vic turned me on to this. I went in there one day, and I used to go in there once or twice a month and spend about $100 on cassettes. And he knew I was a rocker. He knew I was a metalhead. He's like, dude, you got to listen to this intro. So I put it on, and when I listened to it, I was just completely blown away. It was just such a killer. But I know for those of you that, of course, you know Dokken, they're pretty popular in the, the hair metal days. But George Lynch was in also a band called Lynch Mob, and but his guitar playing is outstanding. I heard he's a little of a head case, and so maybe why he didn't make it as big as everyone else. But you could just hear here is incredible. But with that being said, beautiful. Not beautiful if you love guitar. But hope everyone's having a great weekend. And Sal and I, we were just going to talk a little bit about, very briefly, I know last week some people got angry because we talked a little bit about fighting too much, but just a little brief overview of sports today, and very brief. But if you're not watching the hockey,
oh man, the playoffs are amazing.
NHL playoffs, I think, are the best sports playoffs, and the Western Conference with Anaheim and Nashville it's basically two Western Conference teams that are playing like East Coast teams. They're kicking the shit out of each other.
They really are.
It's very tight. So that's a great series.
Ottawa was looking like Ottawa today.
Yes.
Finally, for once.
And listen, as much, and I'm a Ranger fan, so I'm bummed out, but you cannot deny the greatness of Sidney Crosby. No. You can't.
Can't believe this fucking guy.
I hate his guts. He's for those of you I know that watch are from Pittsburgh, congratulations. But he's a whiner, he's a bitcher, but the guy can play hockey. And I watched him today. He actually took a couple of big hits, and he kept moving forward. And
didn't get a concussion.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, he didn't pussy out like an Eric Lindros back in the day.
Oh well, Scott Stevens.
Exactly, Scott Stevens. Yeah, really quick.
I remember watching that hit live when
it happened. They crushed them.
That was in the playoffs, Game 6.
It was.
I was 12 or 13 years old. I was
losing losing your mind. Yeah, and then Mets Yankees. Just briefly want to talk about them. Mets are struggling, but and as you see, my boy Sal, huge Met fan. Mets are just having a tough time. One reason only. Injuries. That's it.
Injuries are plaguing them right now, but help is on the way. Their dudes are getting healthy. Starting pitching might be a little bit of a problem. We're trying to fix that. Relievers are a little bit of a problem. But
hey, listen, if they can keep it to 500 by the All-Star break and then get healthy, Noah comes back.
Yes.
Thor, that's it. Yankees, killing it, man. The Yankee hitting you have two legit superstars in Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez. Just beasts. Aaron Judge looks like a bigger version of Mike Trout, kind of. Except maybe, he's just amazing. The guy.
Talking about Mike Trout real quick, he killed it today
from Jersey.
Whew, Jersey boy. Hopefully, Jersey back home to play.
Yeah, but with that being said, that's basically the overview. We just want to cover sports a little bit, but as usual, we're going to get into the world of liberal lunacy. And out of all the weeks we've been doing this, we've only been doing this for 4 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks.
Good.
Yeah,
solid.
Yeah, that
month and a half.
This week was probably the craziest. Now, that's really tough to say considering all the shit that's been going on. But this week was probably the most asinine, fucked up week I've seen.
This is the big push is right now before summer. The big push. They're trying to get it because they know everyone's going to be, a little disorientated with summer, busy, not focusing too much on politics. They're, got lives to live finally because it's going to be nice out.
Right.
The big push is right now before summer.
It's so fucked up. I actually see these guys sitting in a room like this, guys and ladies, like liberals, commiserating the media, the financiers like George Soros, and the politicians sitting in a room like we are now and commiserating how they can make more shit up, more lies up. I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, and but it's so fucked up.
Conspiracies.
Yeah, but it's to the point where it's so out there that something has, and it's funny how they're all on the same page. I thought networks were supposed to compete against each other. Like, so back in the day, ABC wanted to kick the shit out of NBC. So they each hired the best guys, and those guys went head to head. All of a sudden, it seems like they're all in bed together.
Well, I feel like they all own the same piece of the pie. So if they're all getting the same cut, let's just do our general
bashing
and propaganda.
Better Trump bash.
Yeah, get it all going to one way, and then as soon as this happens, then all of our stuff will be coming together. We can sell more advertisements, do whatever they want to do, make more money. It's a real fucking scary time to be alive.
And last night, late at night, Sal sent me a Harvard. It was a Harvard study on the media, and he sent it to me. And I knew this, but I didn't know how bad it was. It's on my Facebook. It's also on the Red Podcast. But what it basically said, and Sal can explain it, but it basically just went down every major news network, but just not news electronically. It went into newspaper and it went into print journalism and websites, I think, even to that degree. And just go through it.
I mean, you saw the major news sites, even, Fox, who tries to be fair and balanced. You saw there even more to the negative against Trump than everyone.
Yep.
So it's like in some places we're really sad, especially the foreign ones.
Yeah.
Was that the French or German paper? That was 98%.
Holy shit. BBC was no. You know what? That was actually shocking to me that the foreign ones were that bad. But to be honest with you, now I kind of understand, because when we were on vacation, when we were on our honeymoon, G and I, we ran into these kids from London. And I got to tell you, they were doing their job over there, the media, because these kids who were between 14 and 18, they hit I'm talking, it was like ding, ding. It was every liberal talking point. And even the last one they brought up was that, well, Melania even copied, Obama's wife's speech in her. And I'm like, that is the lamest fucking one ever, but they had it down. And so they're basically taking these points, and we've been talking about this for weeks. It works.
Well, the big thing that they keep talking about, fucking Russia.
Again.
Still.
How many fucking times
it's like, here, they're like, this is their big thing. You won't acknowledge it. I do acknowledge it. Right. I think everyone does acknowledge it.
Right.
Tell me why it's bad to have communications with Russia. Why is it bad? They're not giving them top secret shit.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Let's be real.
When have we not talked to Russia?
Why is it bad to have communications with Russia? Why do they need to be our enemy? Why can't we try to have a relationship with them?
Listen.
Why is that the liberal mantra? Well, they're talking to Russia.
What do we do?
So do we not talk to them? Do we create another Cold War?
Right.
Is that what they want?
I mean, every president basically talked. I mean, listen, even Alan Dershowitz, who is the heir apparent to the biggest liberal lawyer in the country, came out this morning and said, President Trump has committed no crime, no treasonous activity. And that's a guy who probably hates him. He's a liberal, but he knows the law, and he knows what he can sell and what he can't sell. And he can't sell it. And I got to give a shout out to, because now they're still calling. I mean, every day, what's the word we hear? Impeach. You hear this from every douchebag liberal in
Article 25-17, Section C.
They just made
it's
it
the
up.
Reason why.
Yeah, they just made it up.
I made that all up.
Yeah, no, so did they. So, but one of my boys, Matt St. Thomas, put together, and I added some stuff, but he just said something. And I over the course of a year or the last 3 years, I've always put all this together, but he put it together really briefly. And he said they're calling for a special prosecutor or a special counselor in this, and they thinking they might be the guy Mueller, Robert Mueller, who's I think one of the ex-FBI guys.
Okay.
To do it, but he said it's crazy, and I know I've said it, but he said just think, and in my brain, without even blinking, without even putting much thought into it, I came up with like 16 things that Barack Obama and Hillary did. Or 50, but this was done, and I think he did it pretty quick. This was done literally in a minute. I just started, so you can get into Benghazi. People died, nothing done. You don't answer the phone. How many times? There was like 88 calls. No phone was even answered. Then you have the IRS scandal, where every one of the IRS people took the fifth, including Lois Lerner, who's the head of IRS, where they were just targeting conservatives.
When was that?
That was about the year before Obama left office.
Okay.
Basically, what was happening was any person with a conservative point was getting audited.
Okay.
And they found it in memos. So she pleaded the fifth with all her cronies. Nothing happened. Then you had the Fast and Furious, which you all know that was. That piece of shit Holder selling guns to Mexico, to drug gangs, and our guys on the border. One guy got shot and killed, American Border Patrol agent. Nothing there. I don't even want to talk about this asshole, Bo Bergdahl. That guy not only sold intelligence information to ISIS and Al Qaeda, we actually traded shit for him to get him back, and nothing happened to him. Nothing. He's a traitor. He's a scumbag. Then you have the Iranian prisoner swap, where we just paid them $400 million to get they took our money. He just gave them flat out cash. We don't ever do that. We did it.
When did we ever negotiate with
exactly
terrorism?
Pay them.
No, pay them.
Are we in Bogota during the fucking the fucking
So what is that?
day?
What kind of president does that send? All right, kidnap Americans because they'll pay
of
us.
Course. Like ransom. Yeah, like that's what. Then the pay for play from Hillary, and I'm talking that in a broad term, but pay for play could have been the uranium deal. It could have been taking money from the Middle East, funding ISIS. Nothing. This makes me like I could sit here with. I have sat with liberals and just gone, and they just have this glazed over, and what they basically say to me that this is all lies. None of it's true. None of it. I say none, and they just say I don't believe any of it. Like it's all bullshit. But also the VA hospital debacle with Bernie and Obama, where veterans are dying because they were
taking all kinds of money.
Exactly. So that's number one. Then you have the Loretta Lynch Bill Clinton meeting. How the fuck does that come up on the radar for a special prosecutor? She was the attorney general.
You don't just all of a sudden go to an airport and decide to fly someplace.
And meet with the wife. Meet with the husband of the person who's getting prosecuted.
Well, I was midair and I decided, I decided to meet Loretta over there.
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Fucking get out of here, Wild Bill.
It's so insane. Then you have Solyndra, which we all know about. We talked about that, where basically billions of dollars was just flooded in and robbed. Solar energy gone astray. It was complete insanity.
Wow.
He got away with that.
Yeah.
Then you have the Obamacare website. No one talks about this very much. The Obamacare website cost over $600 million.
It took them how long to put up?
Right. But no one mentions that the woman. Now, I never met this woman, but I know her name. It was Michelle Obama's roommate from college, from Princeton. She was from New Jersey. One of my old companies, she did healthcare websites. One of my old companies hired her company. She wasn't at the time, she wasn't the CEO, but somehow the government funded her through some fucking plan that they had, I guess, as a minority. They put her in.
Yeah.
If you go on her website at the time, they failed every job they were hired to do. They never finished it. So they took the money, failed to do it, got sued, and they may have settled or whatever. But this time they couldn't get it done. I think they went to MIT, and I think like 6 MIT students did it in 2 weeks for like $12 million. So where's that money? $680 million? Poof. They know what's funny? They talk about million and billions like you and I talk about dollar. This is what's sick.
I remember when that came out, just how much that website cost.
Yeah,
and it was
a failure.
What? Because you all kind of deal with websites now for businesses, and like you have to make them all the time. Website, a good one costs $5,000-$10,000 max.
Right.
A really good one, a highly sophisticated one.
Right.
So where the fuck did $600 million
plus
go?
Right. Someone's stealing something.
Craziness. This is like let's just correlate it to sports. Yankee Stadium cost $1.5 billion to build, and Met Stadium cost $700 to build.
Right.
What's the difference? Not much. Well, where did that $700 billion go?
City is better anyway, but where did it go?
Where'd it go?
And here's the thing: it wasn't even successful. That's the worst part of it all.
You don't even get used.
It didn't even get used. They couldn't figure out how the fuck to do it. And then they had under Hillary, she had the Secret Service guys who were banging hookers on duty. How no one got in trouble for that? Jesus. On the job. I wonder who paid for them. Probably we did. Fucking was on our tab. Yeah, Bill paid for him. Yeah, that. Then
Bill had the watch. That was the payment.
Right. and then,
I got to watch.
Then you had, before Obama left office, giving $221 million to Palestine.
Yeah, on the way out. He tried to, right?
He did. He did it. Yeah. No, I think he got it done. He got it done. And it might have but he never got in trouble for it. Never did nothing. You don't hear any of this shit.
That's why he gets praised by the Muslims in Australia. So.
Exactly.
Well,
Yep. Yeah, they clap for him.
Clap and make videos, and they don't get shown here in this country.
They don't show it. Then they funded ISIS. I mean, the radicals that are killing people all over the world, we funded them. Hillary.
Through back channels. It's like you didn't fund it directly. You didn't go write them the check, but through all back alley channels, through taking out Gaddafi in Libya. Doing almost so much coffee. And doing all these things. You just create a funnel, and in that funnel, bad people come to power. Bad people come,
exactly. So. And then this, even before Obama, and I knew this, but I was spewing it, the whole Acorn voter fraud thing, Barack Obama was a community organizer. He also used to get paid to do speeches for, Acorn. He was kind of like a consultant for Acorn. All of a sudden, he gets to be president. Acorn is fucking voter fraud, is promoting voter fraud. Now, is that just coincidence? I think not. They also were doing all sorts of crazy shit that they got defunded, and then he funded them again. So you're like, what the fuck? No special prosecutor. And then the last thing, and this is near and dear to my heart, because I always say the government does one thing incredibly well, better than any, and they don't do shit good for anything, but there's one thing is collect money.
Yeah,
they are fucking. They're the mafia. They're the fucking. They're the fucking. Every.
Bigger than the church, man. And they take that money.
They're better than the church, better than the mafia, better than every fucking criminal organization on collecting money. Yeah. But this is what bothers me. Al Sharpton was basically brought into the White House by Barack Obama over a dozen times. He owes like $13 million in back taxes. Obama's, not a lot of people notice, Obama's cabinet, meaning all the people on his staff in total, owe about $90 million. So Obama's cabinet, Al Sharpton, these people owe over $100 million in taxes. And why that pisses me off is a few years ago when I had my accident, in order to survive, I had to take out of my 401k. So I took $25K out. So you pay tax on that $25K, but then you get hit again for 10%. So you got to pay $2,500, which I didn't pay, which I knew, but I was. So I wrote them a letter, so on and so forth. And I got a letter twice a weck and kept saying to me, we're going to charge you interest. They were harassing me for this $2,500 like I was fucking boss Tweed. Like I was a criminal empire. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it's $2,500. I mean, I had a stack of IRS letters like this. And I had to, when I wound up paying, the vig they charged me was more than the mob. It probably was like a 30% interest rate on money. So $2,500 not paying it for like 3 months was like $3,000. It was crazy. But this is, and no one says shit. Like nothing happens to anybody in these things. No special prosecutor, no questions asked. And these fucking people they could sit there with a straight face, look at people and without bursting out into laughter, saying we want a special prosecutor on because he speaks to Russia.
It's craziness. It's just what it is now. It's kind of getting obvious that they just want to stall out his agenda,
right?
As long as they possibly can, do whatever they can, to get him not to pass any of his stuff.
Right.
It's just not going to work. And like when all of his stuff does eventually go through, and everyone everything that they're saying doesn't come true, and all of his stuff does, like what happens then to this media bias? Like what is going to happen? Are they going to shut down? How do they put the spin on it then? So that's what I'm trying to go through my head right now.
Right.
What goes on? Like they only look like one step ahead instead of looking 30 steps ahead where they should be, like with this media stuff,
right?
With all these news stories, they just look at fake news, Russia, which maybe there is a connection, maybe there is, but it's not going to be anything crazy like they're thinking it is. Oh, what's the connection going to be? Oh, it's going to be something absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's like what we talked about last week. You had mentioned it towards the end of the podcast, that transference stuff. Yeah. Like Maxine Waters came on about impeaching Trump. All of a sudden, her financial records got, and all her investments are in Russia. So it's like
Maxine Waters' investments are in Russia. Get out!
But you're just like, what? Like this is, and like the same thing, like with all of them. Like it's that transference thing. We can do what the fuck we want
because we're better.
But we're better. But you can't do anything. You can't even talk to them. We can invest in them. We could spend our money with them. We could sell our uranium to them. We could tell them on mic that we're going to help them when I win the election. We could do all that.
And as a liberal, what makes them better? Their social ideals.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You like how pompous and arrogant are you to think something like that?
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. And this is why we got to combat this shit, because they'll just take over. They have the power of the media. And if we don't combat them at any front that we can, it's going to be insanity.
It's getting to a point where I said something this morning about this, and I said, sometimes I just like to take politics out of the mix and just talk about everyday life. But could you imagine if you had a person who you had to work with, or a neighbor, or whatever the case may be, that acted like this? And I'm not talking about a political scale. I'm talking about everything, you know, always pointing the finger, always blaming everyone else, always like, you know, the fly in the Chardonnay, which means like, I'm going to bitch and moan, but I'm never going to solve a fucking problem. And that person would be the most despised person in your world.
I had a business client. Remember Mr. Joel?
Yeah.
Remember Joel,
yes.
that business guy? Guess what happened to him? Cut. See you later. We don't need you.
Right.
Like, we don't need you with your bullshit.
I mean, it's funny because G and I have this discussion, and a lot of these people watching this podcast grew up where we did. Yeah. And growing up in Belleville when we did was a lower middle class, very blue collar, very hardworking town with good people. Everybody worked their ass off. All the parents worked for their kids. The big thing was Little League, like it is in a lot of towns. Yeah. Little League, you know, for you know, young boys. For the girls had a lot of stuff going on, you know, having jobs or doing what they were doing. But everybody worked, even when you were a kid. I've been working since I'm 6 years old. And then I'm finding that now that Facebook has kind of exploded out to where you start bumping into people again who, you know, you went to grammar school with, you know, kindergarten or whatever. And, you know, at first it's nice to hear about them, you know, nice to hear their name. You haven't heard it in ages. It amazes me that sometimes you hear these people that just have gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying that for people who have a different viewpoint than you and I, but I'm saying about people who just talk complete batshit crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's like we came from the same background.
That's my point. Like now, all right, I understand. Like maybe you went to college and, you know, I know you went to high school with me, and back then, no teacher ever talked about politics. They taught the lesson, and that was it. Matter of fact, politics was never even discussed. We used to have a little, you know, when you were a little kid in fourth grade, they used to have the, you know, pseudo election where you'd come in, vote for, you know, put your candidate in the thing, and they would say, oh, so-and-so won, you know, Reagan or whatever, and that was it. Nowadays, like these kids but I'm thinking you're the same age as me, so that didn't happen to you. So you didn't get brainwashed in high school or younger. You didn't get any indoctrination there. Now college, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't see many people, even back then, going to the Harvards, and probably some did. But I think they went to normal college. So I'm like, where the fuck did this switch go off in their head that made them that fucked up?
I think that's a crazy thing to dive into on human psychology. I think a lot of
spouse, maybe.
I think no. It's you hit the nail on the head when it comes to institutionalization. When it comes to like the schools, even it's just the adjunct professors that you meet. Like they're all liberals. Everybody's a fucking liberal because you got to be. Because everyone,
right.
If you're not that,
tenure and all that bullshit.
If you're not that, you're not going to get tenure. You're not going to make it as a teacher. So everything that you just did, your master's and all that, is going to be for naught if you don't go with the crowd. And that, as soon as that happens, your ideology kind of gets skewed, you know. And then a lot of people give up once they get tenure, instead of actually voicing their ideas and having balls and be like, whatever, they can't fire me now. Yeah, whatever, I'm getting paid no matter what now. They just go with the flow. They don't want to make waves, because then what happens? You make a wave, then you get fucking these asshole kids with fucking foghorns in your class.
Right.
And then universities allow it.
Yep.
So it's like you can't even combat it. So if you do, you're not ostracized and outcasted.
I don't get it. I don't get how people my age act this fucked up.
Like Miss USA, like perfect example. A week or two ago.
Yep.
Healthcare is a privilege. Like not to be, you're not just given healthcare. Yep. Healthcare is a privilege.
Right.
And people got all bent out of shape about that. Like, you need to work. If you don't work, you don't get healthcare. What is the problem with this? I don't understand. Why are people that are poor above working? I don't get this shit. Like,
right. Look, two things, Miss USA, and this is how, and I will, and liberals, I'm talking, if any liberals are watching, I'm talking to you. If you think social ideas of liberals are better than conservatives, they're not. They're about 1 million times fucking worse, and I'll prove it to you right now. You just mentioned it. We had a black African-American woman who was beautiful, articulate.
From DC.
From
right?
DC. Yeah. Articulate, incredibly intelligent, talented. She was a scientist at 25. What can be said about her?
Yeah.
However, she said what you just said, and all of a sudden, her blackness washed right off. Her intelligence went down the shitter.
Yeah.
Her job or her accomplishments didn't matter. The only thing that made that woman different from a Miss America in the past that they celebrate was she said a couple conservative ideas.
Yeah.
And they fucking pasted her.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of applauding a woman who, I don't know what her background is as far as her parents, but whatever. But instead of applauding a person who could be viewed as a role model for all young women, not just black women, all young girls, they shit on her.
Yeah.
Shit on her.
Because of an idea.
Because her ideas didn't match their ideas.
And it's just like, if you take a step back and you don't see that and see that there's something wrong with that, there's something wrong with you.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Now, let's switch the roles. I'm a judge or I'm a fan. I don't even watch beauty pageants. But say you and I are sitting on a Saturday night watching a beauty pageant, and a liberal comes up who has all those things she was, and she says something like, well, I think healthcare should be given to everybody in the United States. Now, you and I might say, holy fuck, that's fucked up. But I'm not going to fucking go on and on about it. It's not that important to me.
Yeah, well, I would just add, I'm like, why do you think that way?
Right.
And if she gave me like a heart, this is the thing. If it comes from the heart and you generally mean that you want people to have healthcare, I'm not going to bash you for it. I'm going to be like, okay.
Right.
And we disagree. And I'm not going to be like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm not going to do something like that.
But and this is funny that all the people that liberals supposedly are there to, prop up and support and encourage, it just shows that how they just completely are full of shit.
Yeah.
Completely
totally full of shit.
Totally. Because they didn't care she was black.
No.
They didn't care that, she was a woman. They didn't care that she maybe came from a poor family. They didn't give a shit about any of that. All they focused on was that she said a conservative and not a liberal viewpoint once or twice, whatever. But
hey, I don't think that. I think you need to work to have healthcare.
Yeah.
Just like kind of what she said. If you're not working, why do you have healthcare? What makes you special?
That's another thing. In our society, and listen, I think as Americans, we have a big heart. And I think welfare was originally a great idea. And I'll be the first to admit, people who have health problems, debilitating health problems, mental problems, physical problems, whatever the case may be, they should get welfare. They should be able to survive and
But I think that would make you eligible for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not welfare. It's now it's dependence, not assistance. Yeah. And now you have people who this is their job.
That's like going to be a big problem with advancing technology is all these fucking computers and all these robots are going to be taking all these jobs.
Of course.
They're saying, by like 2050, there's going to be 50, 100 million people that are unemployable. Right. They're going to have no skills.
Right.
Like, what do these people do? And how do they survive? Like,
how is someone who's healthy, a healthy adult, doesn't want to work?
Yeah. Or try to just strive for better things in
right.
life. Like, that's the thing. Like, the people talk about that universal health care, and if you get like $1,000 a month or something like that, would that actually spark creativity in people, or would that just make people lazy bags of shit? Like, would they just the basic needs are covered, food and housing?
Right.
Would they just do nothing and not work, or would that actually give people the motivation? All right, I have my basic necessities covered. Let me go out there and get more. I don't know. It's a hard thing to call.
I don't think it works.
I don't think it works either. It's been proven. Sad to say. I don't think it works.
It's been proven.
But it would cheer up one thing: we would all be equal.
Right.
So
I don't know what a person could do. Like, I know, like, how do fucking someone just sit home all day? And there should be really, like, when you see someone who doesn't work or has never had a job driving around in a fucking Mercedes Benz, something's wrong with that.
I hate that shit.
Something's fucking wrong. I mean, one day G and I were going somewhere. She was coming out of CVS or whatever. And she said the woman was in there with a welfare card or whatever, EBT card. She goes out to a fucking Audi A5 convertible, brand new with the fucking tag still on it. What the fuck? Listen, we got to buy cars within our means. That is fucked up.
I know. It's that the system got taken advantage of solidly for the past 12 years.
It's huge. It's been bad for a while though.
So, I know it's been way worse too for a long time, but they got to correct it. I think they're stepping in the right direction.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. We're in this crazy transition period right now, just in society and in life. Crazy transition. There's like a civil war brewing. It's like fucking this fucking crazy. There's a media war going on.
Yeah, there definitely is that. It's
mainstream media versus social media. Who's gonna win?
Right. Yeah, you're right. It is that. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And speaking of something that came across my news feed and I looked into was there was a big thing about Obama meeting with Zuckerberg several times, and to basically Obama wanted to confirm that Zuckerberg will be pushing his agenda on Facebook on trying to basically arrange his social ideas, like prioritizing them on Facebook. And he does.
I'm not going to lie. Like, this is just what I noticed through the minimal amount of posting that I've done through the Red podcast. Every time I make a post, within 30 minutes, it's pushed way down. Way down. Like, where stuff from yesterday or the day before will pop up before. I'm like, I just posted this 30 minutes ago. How did this get pushed so far down?
Now, I have a feeling there's something to this Zuckerberg-Obama meeting stuff going on, that they met several times, because now I'm no computer genius. You're much more, so you tell me this. But I could see Zuckerberg or whoever's in charge of his IT and doing it, somehow putting like a flag. If these words are put in Trump, certain words, and if it goes in, it just drops.
It's finding
or like
replace on
or like conversely, you put in Hillary or Bernie,
push it up.
Exactly. I could definitely say I know. I've been banned. I've been knocked off since. I mean, I've really gotten more political probably in the last 2 years.
Yeah. In
those 2 years, I've probably been banned 3 times for a week.
Well, on YouTube, it's been known that if you do like conspiracies, especially 9/11 conspiracy talk, they instantly cut you.
They do.
Yeah. They don't want any of that stuff.
That I'm not aware of. And YouTube is a pretty progressive.
YouTube
liberal.
is taking over. Well, YouTube's Google.
Oh,
yeah. YouTube is owned by Google.
There you go.
So it has a wide fucking audience. Huge.
Ugh, it sucks. It's just, they're like, yeah, I can definitely see this going on. And then you're right. It's a battle between the media and social media. And now you have our plants in social media that are trying to frown upon things like what we do and what other people do. I know it happens all the time.
And here's the other thing. It was funny. I was looking at a live feed of President Trump at the Coast Guard, I guess he was doing. But it was the positive likes, where it has the smiley faces. It's like, love, super like, and the negative ones. Yeah. There would be like 8,000 likes, 10,000 loves, 11,000 I love, whatever, best wishes. And then there would be like, I kid you not, after those thousands and thousands of likes and comments, all positive, there would be like 80 on
really
like frowny faces. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I was like, this fucking mainstream media is just mainstream. That's it.
Right.
They're the only liberals I think out there because they're not even on social media. Like
that. And your point is exactly what we talked about the election. Like I said this from day one. I said, President Trump's winning this election.
I'm sorry to cut you off. And that wasn't like a fucking pro-conservative. That was like, I forget what that was. Well, I think I might have been the Times feed of the thing. Right. I'm like, sorry, this isn't liberal. Right. I mean, this isn't conservative. This is a liberal thing.
I mean, you go to Occupy Democrats, it'll be different, obviously. Yeah. But this is exactly my point. Like during the election, I always said, I'm like, wait a second. You can't tell me, at the time, Donald Trump has a meeting, has a speech in Florida, and has like 30,000 people in the building and 40,000 waiting outside. Then Hillary is in New York, and not counting her paying people like with what's his name with Jay-Z, but just she has a pro rally like he did, and has like 220 people show up. Like there's something to that, just like you said.
Exactly. I won't go as far as saying that it was paid off and illegal shit happened, It's just take the step back from your stupid ideology and look at it as a whole.
Right.
It was fucking obvious. Like, obviously, this dude had a tsunami wave of support.
He did.
Obviously.
Most than we ever seen.
Huge.
Right.
And so
and
that's what we want.
And I still think he does. And I think people, I mean,
there's 5 cities that wanted Hillary: Cleveland, New York, LA, Seattle, and Chicago.
Yeah.
Those are the 5 cities that wanted it.
Yep.
No one else wanted her.
I'm
bullshit.
shocked about Cleveland, but
no one else wanted. Maybe Boston too.
No, I think you might be right. Yeah.
Probably not though, because they're all white.
Yeah. No, but Boston's can be fucking liberal. But yeah, you're right. Those are the major cities that the major states. We'll give them to them. New York, California, Washington, probably Massachusetts, and probably Illinois. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
There's the only people that wanted her bullshit.
And I bet you it was kind of close. I think the only 2 was probably New York and California that were probably skewed and fucking whacked out.
Well, yeah, because and you look at the population of the country, you got a whole quarter of it lives in 2 cities.
Yeah.
So like, what does that tell you?
So that was big. That's why we do the electoral college. But so I think you're right. I think there's a huge battle going on, and I think you throw in there I think Christianity and all these religious stuff. I think that's getting put into it because it's weird. Like I'm a Catholic and I don't go to church that much. I try to go, but I try to be, I try to live a good life. We
it's not saying you believe in a higher power.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do. I believe in that. But the thing is now, here's another thing. You hear people talk about God and they get shit on.
I know. It's so ridiculous.
Shit on. And I'm like, wait a sec. What happened to but could you imagine if a guy who was a football player or an athlete, or a musician said something about Allah? Fuck Allah. They would never, ever. Liberals would never. They're pissing their pants afraid of Muslims. You know why? Here's why. Somebody like a Hollywood type that makes fun of Catholics.
Yeah. They
don't care. They make fun of Muslims. Someone will come and fucking kill you.
Yeah.
They did it. What do you think they did to the guy in Sweden? He drew a thing of Muhammad, a caricature of him, Muhammad like crying or something. Yeah. He got killed. He got murdered in Sweden. Muslims fucking killed him.
It's a ridiculous thing. It's a ridiculous religion. It really is. It really is. I mean, I'm glad that there is a younger generation of Muslim people that aren't so crazy, but who the fuck knows? Like,
right.
They got those ties are deep.
I think, you still, I got sent a video. It was disturbing. My buddy, Joe Sandora, sent it to me. And he said it's been taken off Facebook and YouTube every time. He sent it to me. I happened to catch it. It was so fucking disturbing. It was in Germany, and that piece of shit Merkel allowed all these refugees to come in. And it happened in Greece, where they came in on tankers. When they come in, they got nowhere to go. So they just fucking roam the countryside like animals. And they interviewed people like in these towns. And one woman was speaking like broken English, and another woman was speaking German, but they were subtitling it. And these people are crying, saying, these people are breaking into our homes, stealing our stuff. Cops don't do anything.
They can't do anything. There's too many of them.
Right.
There's too much.
They're
overwhelmed.
What the fuck? Like some of the, what I always say, Sal, and I can't for the life of me. Why would a person, now I know why Barack Obama does it, because he's a Muslim. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He's no Catholic.
What's the point though?
But how does someone like Andrea Merkel, how does she benefit from something like this? Why would you agree to this?
That, and they said once you get out of office, you're taken care of. Like, it's one of the people are so fucking petty, and all they do is care about themselves. Yeah. And especially when they get to that supreme power, that's when they really just care about themselves.
Wow. She doesn't live a poor life now. To make that much money, to fuck your people over like that? Like, how do you put
Germany?
Right.
It's fucking what Germany does. They kill their own people.
But Hillary Clinton did it too. But how in the world do these people put their head on the pillow at night knowing that they're fucking so many people over?
Just think about the Nazis. You hear about the Nazi scientist story about I think it was the guys who came eventually into NASA when they were rocket scientists over in Germany.
Yep.
The slowest people working at the factory, the 5 slowest.
They just what do you call them?
You get noosed. You get killed at the end of the day. If you were the slowest worker, you die. That's your motivation.
Right.
Imagine This is what they did. I mean, I don't know if that was all towards Jewish people. I think it was everyone at the factory.
Right.
If you were the slowest worker, you're dead. It's not that long ago.
Got people that are terrified.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they did to their own people, and they're
fucking
a different breed. Different breed of white people. Yeah, it's just like Russians. They're a different breed of white people too.
Yeah, some of them are definitely crazy. Yeah, but it's nuts. Another thing that I want to mention was there was a memo that came out. And you heard it nowhere in the media. I saw it on C-SPAN. And this is the great thing about C-SPAN is they're not that they're not allowed. They can't basically pick and choose what they want to report.
It just shows everything.
They have to do it. That's what they have to do. But there was a memo that came out that Barack Obama had a deal cut where he banned all U.S. veterans from applying for jobs at the U.S. Justice Department. And he only had, and he actually put, I want people of Muslim descent favorite for these jobs. And this is fucking in a memo that just happened to appear now. That is fucking so much discrimination. There's so many things wrong with that. I can't even, but the funny thing is, I saw it. I'm just a fucking guy in New Jersey who happened to be watching C-SPAN one day and this comes across this. How does the New York Times not report this? How's the fucking Boston Globe or the fucking LA Times?
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why?
But that's frightening.
Because it's not within the playbill, man. It's not in the playbook.
Right. I remember. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Like, you know how Alex Jones and all these crazy conspiracy, they're saying they got the coup. They're trying to work on this.
I'm not. I agree.
It's true to a point. Maybe it's not so crazy. They're trying to do it through the media. They're trying to overtake.
Yeah.
Just like however fascist regime takes. Like, that was the play. That was their transference in the beginning. Donald Trump's trying to shut down the media. That's
that's them. That's them doing.
But the true thing is, they have the media taken over, and they're trying to spew all the propaganda.
Right.
So that is the Nazism.
There was some that occurred on President Obama's first election. A reporter in the New York Times caught him, I think, a month before the election, committing voter fraud. It's a felony what he was doing. And after he was elected, the story came out, and someone asked in passing, and it was printed to the editor who had the decision to print the story or not print the story. And she didn't print it. And then when they asked her why, she's like, that would have been bad for our guy and good for their guy. This is the fucking editor of the New York Times who had a story of criminal activity of a presidential candidate. Where the fuck is Woodward and Bernstein when you need them? I mean, from Watergate. I mean, they had the story, and she said, bury it, because they claim that was their guy.
Wow. It's just, the hypocrisy is so real, and it's so transparent now. Like, it's to the point where they're even starting to acknowledge it a little bit.
They laugh.
Yeah, like they
think it's a fucking joke.
They think they're going to get away with it, though.
It's unbelievable.
I can't tell you, like, what's going to happen. I just feel in my deep core that something is going to happen.
Something big?
Something's going to happen to stop all this shit. Something.
Let me tell you, your mouth to God's ear, Sal, because it has to. Something has to happen.
Something big.
It's so fucked up.
Like, I feel like it kind of like it's either that, maybe it's just everyone tuning out. Maybe. Because I feel like no one's really tuning in. So maybe it's if enough people tune out finally and they have no message to go across, but
I don't know how any sane person can listen to this.
I can't say like I have a true understanding of it, but
I mean, I don't know how anybody, like, it's unlistenable.
It is. And because it's so ridiculous.
It's fucking redundant and repetitive and boring. And you see, like, this week we were watching, there's this dude, he's a Navy SEAL, and he was on CNN, and there was a panel of like, he was like the third over. There was a black dude, another guy next to him. Then there was the woman host, and then two other women. And it was basically, and the guy's a Navy SEAL. He used to be outnumbered. It was like 5 against 1. They're all bashing Trump. Yeah. And the guy was articulate, but I think he wasn't prepared for, it wasn't like, now listen, a guy like him, you put him on a military, operation, he'll kill everybody like that. But in an oratorical sense, I don't think he was prepared. So he basically was saying that none of you are even giving the man an opportunity to present his ideas and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Let things play out.
This 100-pound woman, this bony ass lily white little douchebag is fucking in his face like this. And he could have, but I'm not just, she was literally, she's like, how dare you question the ethics of CNN and like these great reporters. And he didn't know, he kind of was taken off guard where I said I posted this, I said, that guy's a Navy SEAL of military operations. I wish I was on that because I'm a Navy SEAL of fucking oratory skills. I would have made her look like such a jerk off. I would have made her feel this big. But think about this. Here's a woman.
Like the woman, I defended your freedom. I went over there and fought and tried to make this place better.
And you're pointing my finger in my face.
You're trying to belittle me over CNN's reporters. Are you out of your mind?
Right. Or do you always act this irrational and crazy where I'm very calm and I'm talking to you?
I'm sure not many people like you very much.
Right. Exactly. Like you're and she was doing, and I got to say, the rest of the panel was kind of taken back. Like some of them were kind of like looking at her, but she had lost her shit. And if you heard what the guy said, he didn't say anything out of character. It was actually, he was very calm, very composed. He just asked a question, and she fucking went nuts. And these are the things that you see every day. But I hope and pray you're right. I hope something happens because something has to change. This rail is off the fucking track.
I think there's a movement, like that's the transition period I like to talk about. Maybe the transition period is people becoming more enlightened. I don't know, like about the whole subject.
Yeah, I mean,
just like they're finally like, wait a second, this is all spin. Like, what is the actual facts here? And then maybe do a little bit of digging. Actually, just maybe just let the thing breathe a little and let some policies play out and see. Right. Maybe they will be good. Maybe they will be bad. But we don't fucking know yet because nothing's happened yet.
Well, the thing is, like, what I find bizarre is, and I'll say this, there's a very huge similarity between Barack Obama and President Trump, the way he's treating the media. And this is what I mean. Barack Obama was never asked anything about policies, accomplishments, anything, because they knew they're all failures. So they talked about either as Donald Trump, not because his are working and they just don't want to know about it. So what I mean is, even though they're being treated, it's for different reasons. Yeah. Well, I mean, when was the last time you heard something about economic policy? We know because we watch them, but if you don't and you just take the mainstream media, nothing's even discussed
because it's working.
Right.
So if something's working and he's adding trillions to the stock market and all this, we got to talk about Russia. We got to figure something out to throw people off.
I mean, it is so
fucking obvious,
fucking embarrassing. These buffoons, they're fucking idiots.
Like, I think that's like enough people that need to realize, like, why am I watching this guy and why is he getting paid to say this to me? Like, how do you watch Comedy Central? How do you watch Comedy Central?
I don't know how you can watch anything.
How do you watch Comedy Central? I don't understand how you can even watch that network. I mean, some of it's funny, but doesn't the message get like they're all just bashing Trump, and founded on what? Just because you can make a joke about the guy's skin color? Or his hair?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
And like,
isn't that old?
Isn't boring? That's what I'm saying. Isn't that a little old? Like, the guy's really successful too. Like, and it's hard to make fun of him. Like after you keep bashing him for the same points, it's like, all right, where do I go?
But you know what I kind of look at it is like, I would look at like, let's take politics out of the mix. Even like someone we dislike. You know, say a Rosie O'Donnell. Maybe if you're a comedian or maybe if you're in a public forum, you call her, you know, fat once, which is not really funny, but, you know, maybe you do. And
you just go off. You call her a fat fucking whale. Yeah, can't stop eating. Fucking Ralphie May won't even fuck her. Shit like that.
Yeah, you do it. But if you come on every day, after a while, you're like, this guy's unoriginal. He's uncreative. Boring as shit.
It's the same stupid.
I don't even know how anybody can watch any. Like, I don't watch network TV at all. How can people? I know they said their ratings took a little spike this week, but what the media fails to mention is they were in the fucking toilet for so long. So I mean, you know, 1 point onto 0 points is fucking going to be a big. Well, but all those jerk offs, they're unwatchable. How much can you talk about? Make fun of the guy.
I mean, this week was huge, though. They tried to really push. This was the big push.
Because, like what you said initially, this is the time period. This is their time frame.
The big push before summer.
That's all. I mean, I don't even think any of these guys have any material besides him.
No, they really like. Was the news always just about the president?
No. Well, all right, here. When there's any of those guys, and this is something that I never fail to mention. I go, how come comedians, well, not every comedian, but a lot of, I'll say a high percentage of comedians, 95% of fucking, what do you call it, Hollywood actors, and 80% of entertainers, music people, how come when a Democrat's in office, they don't have anything to talk about? Does their guy do everything great? Does their guy? No, because they're so fucking ideologically fucked in the head. They just don't even know how to go about it.
It comes down like they're also getting all kinds of publicity, funding through their bullshit charities that are all scams. Come on. But I mean, it all goes hand in hand. Like, it comes down to pay for play, but it just it's pay. People are like, what does that mean? It's every little aspect of it. Whatever it gets the other person ahead, gets this other person into a party, gets this other person a deal with shoes, gets this other person a deal on a network. It all integrates together, and that's how these people are in bed with each other. And now they got Trump in there who's in bed with nobody. And they hate it. Because they can't even buy the guy because he's rich. How do you fuck with somebody who's a billionaire rich dude? You can't.
You don't care.
You can't, because this dude, he'll hire a militia to surround him. They're not going to get to this guy.
No, they don't care. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's gonna resign. I doubt it.
No,
because he's too egotistical.
I think he gets off on this shit.
He's too egomaniacal to fucking quit. Are you kidding?
He loves the fact that he's.
I'm not saying that's a good thing,
but he loves the fact he's pulling their fucking strings like puppets. He loves it. He gets off on it.
He's like, every little thing I do gets someone upset, and I think that kind of gets him off a little.
Well, he knows these people are crazy, but let me tell you something. Like, I took some time the other day and I watched his speech. It was a law enforcement memorial. And by the way, the last 8 years, the Muslim never attended any of the law enforcement memorials. He didn't show up. President Trump was there.
Not true, man. He went to that thing with Biden where he was standing there. It was the tomb of the unknown soldier. He watched the guy walk back and forth. I watched it.
And he was empathetic.
He cried.
He cried. But Trump did, that's exactly what they sound too. But Trump just did an amazing speech, and no one even talked about it. It was fucking like, listen, I'll be the first to admit, in some instances, President Trump is the most articulate guy. Now, let me say, with that being said, he ain't a dumb guy. But he's not a skilled politician.
He's not a skilled speaker.
No, and I don't think he's ever. I think, I'll be honest with you, me personally, thinks he's just a fucking workhorse. So he's out there working all the time, working his companies, working his job, that he never really took time to learn how to speak properly. He's in that older generation. Let's not forget the man's 70.
No, he communicates like a CEO.
Kinda. Your point is, matter of fact, I wish I had said that better. You're exactly right. That's how he communicates. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong. Straight to the point. Wants it done his way.
Yes.
And like people misconstrue.
That is the best. He talks like, and he is a CEO. And that's what I'm tired. Like, I love when people say, he said this. Like, if you think that those politicians never talk off color,
oh, please.
Are you fucking kidding me? No, what they do is when the cameras are on, they are on their best behavior. Exactly. Buttoned up, fake smile, hair done. Maybe if they have to, they have some fucking eye drops. They squirt in their eye when the camera's on, make believe they're crying. Yes. But you know what? If you think that's their persona in real, and it's interesting. There's a show on I think it's Netflix called House of Cards. It's based loosely on the Clintons. Kevin Spacey,
that power couple.
Is a power couple. And they're exactly, and it's pretty close. But what I love about the show the most is it has him doing the things you just did. You do it good. But what he does is when the camera's on him, he has like the bubble, and he's actually in the moment saying what he really feels, and you'll hear him talk. So say I'm meeting you for the first time, and I think you're a dickhead. Like say you're from Russia or whatever. Nice to meet you. As soon as he backs up, this guy is the biggest cocksucker, and that's what he does. And so you just know that's the best part of the show, because all these people are fooled to think that, oh, Donald Trump, no, what he is he's honest. Yeah. And I think if he ever says something, it's not because he's lying because he wants to Kylie, he probably didn't know. And because I think he's a smart dude, and everything he said and all these things, he's been right about everything, about the voter fraud, about Russia, about every fucking thing. Meanwhile, just take what Obama said about the cops, and he did a lot of them, did a lot of finger pointing. Yeah. He was wrong every fucking time. You don't hear that? Did he lie? They'll say he never said. He said it. He was wrong every time. He fucking lied too. I'll call him out. If you want to say Trump lied, then he fucking lied. Yeah. And he lied 10 times worse because he said about an individual person.
That's why Comey's backtracked all his statements.
Exactly.
Like, wait a second. I have to talk about Obama too? Maybe not. Maybe I don't want to say nothing.
Yeah, and you just hit my next point. For once in their fucking life, a U.S. senator did a fucking kick-ass thing. Charles Grassley is head of the Senate Judiciary Committee. They were pushing hard for the memos from, you just mentioned, Trump, Comey.
Yeah.
This guy just threw a royal fucking knuckleball, Noah Syndergaard 99% fucking mile per hour slider. He said, wait a second. If you want all the communication between Comey and Trump, you're also gonna put forward the Comey Clinton, Comey Obama, Comey Holder, Comey Lynch. Fucking brilliant. You don't think they're shitting their pants?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they're like,
well, maybe he was lying. So he doesn't have to test if he was lying.
Yeah. Maybe that memo thing we'll put on the back burner. We don't think we're gonna do that. Yeah. You fucking hypocrites.
So that was the thing I said. I was like, if they're truly gonna force Comey to do this by they said after Memorial Day.
Yeah.
He'll be dead before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
He'll commit suicide before commit suicide.
You know what?
But I don't think it's gonna. I don't think he's going to the judiciary thing. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Here's my prediction: if Comey has to get subpoenaed and go, and he has no choice, or his career is over, he's gonna step on a banana peel, walking underneath a ladder, holding a mirror in one arm and a black cat in the other arm. The guy's gonna end up fucking dead.
He's not gonna make it.
Dead.
I mean, he's not gonna make it. Let's just be honest. He's not going to.
He'll be dead.
So and it's one of those things the future will tell. But it's our little. If we had a little odds prediction, if I had a Vegas bet, I could put 100 on it right now.
Right.
I put 100 on it.
Well, it's funny because speaking of the whole Seth Rich thing was pretty hot this week.
That was crazy.
And it's funny because talk about a flip flop. They had Rod Wheeler on, who's the head investigator. He basically came on and said, I was paid by Mr. and Mrs. Rich. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I read that story. It's nuts.
And he said he was paid. He came out and said it. I saw the interview come out of his mouth. The next day, or even that evening, immediately, the parents said, we never paid him. We have no association with him. We think all his findings are false. Now, I said, that's kind of interesting. They have a son who was killed under the most suspicious circumstances.
Nothing robbed during a robbery.
Nothing robbed during a robbery. How many? Now, here's what I like to know, and I should have researched this, but I didn't think we were going to talk about it. How many robberies are committed at 4:30 a.m.?
How many robberies take place when there's nothing taken?
Right.
When a guy is wearing was it a longings or bright lights?
A nice watch.
It was
his wallet.
Hundreds of dollars worth of
wallet. Oh, yeah, easy.
A wallet with $400.
Yeah. Nothing.
I've never heard of a robbery that took place like that. Yeah. Nope. Also at 4:30 a.m. I would in DC. I'm sure things happen.
But I would imagine most of the crime takes place between darkness, 8 o'clock, and 1 in the morning.
Who the hell's up at 4:30 a.m.?
Right. Yeah. And he's jogging. It was 4:30. 4:30. These criminals are sleeping. They're getting off their fucking drug habits or fucking they've been out all night.
And they're at the club.
Right.
At home.
So, but with that being said. I see this playing out something like this. Someone anonymously, a man that we don't know his name, knocking on Mr. and Mrs. Rich's door. Hi, can I help you? Oh, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Rich. Hi, I'm Joe Smith. I'm a friend of the Clintons, and we think it's best that you distance yourself as far away from Mr. Wheeler as you can. If you don't, the same thing's going to happen to you and your husband and your other children that happened to your son. You understand? Okay. Oh, by the way, here's a barrel full of money for you.
Yeah. It's not just a threat. They're also paying you off.
So that's
it is what that's like. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, there was another I saw I won't go into it because I totally forgot now. I spaced on it, but I saw just a whole shrew of craziness come out this week about Obama and Hillary Clinton, about just all their foundation and all this stuff. And a lot of it could be propaganda, just bullshit, but a lot of it seemed real.
Well, there's something that the media hasn't talked about either. It was confirmed that Seth Rich gave his emails to Wiki.
Yeah, like 25,000.
Yes, they said they had 40,000, but 17,000 attachments, 17,000 and change. The guy he gave them off, his name was Gavin McFadden. Guess what's up with Gavin?
Where's Gavin?
He's dead. So wait a second.
What are the odds?
Please tell me the coincidence. What's the coincidence on two people handling highly troubling emails from the DNC and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama? Both are dead.
Yeah. Like, where's the outrage? Where's like, and the sensitive material there it wasn't U.S. relations that they were putting in jeopardy. It was their character.
Exactly. They don't care about. They'd rather put the U.S. relations.
Exactly. They already flushed them down the toilet.
Exactly.
So now, like, we got to save ourselves.
Right. Right. I mean,
these are the people that should be putting the country ahead of everything.
Right. It's funny because this week I was at my coffee shop as usual, and there's a 20-year-old kid who used to be a worker there. He's going into his junior year. I hadn't seen him in a while, so he walks in, and I say hi to him. He said, "Hey, what's up?" And I say to him, "Hey, so what's going on? Like, what? Oh, Gary, I'm going into my junior year. Congratulations." I said, "So what are you doing? What do you like? What's your major?" And he goes, "I want to be a political speechwriter." I said, "Oh, cool." I said, my wife does some writing, so that's cool. So I said, just go into, question, where do you fall on the political spectrum? He says, far left. So I say to him, oh, so you voted for Bernie?
Yeah.
He said, no. I said, you didn't? You're far left. You didn't vote for Bernie? He said, no, I voted for Hillary. I go, why? He goes, I really like your economic policies. I said, what about them? He goes, they're good. I go, what's good about them? He goes, they just are. And I go, dude.
Yeah, come on.
That's pretty fucking sad.
They just are.
I go, do you know what the fuck you're talking about? Yeah. Like, so he goes, why are you yelling at me? And I said, I'm not yelling at you. This is my normal voice. So I asked him another question. He goes, you're attacking me.
They can't handle any kind of criticism.
So I said to him, I go, wait a second. I said, asking you questions based on your opinion is attacking you? I'm like, dude, you better toughen up, man, because right now you're looking very marshmallow-like. I go, when you get in the real world, you ain't going to fucking make it. I said, because honestly, if you think I'm attacking you, I said, first off, attack, think of the word. It's either a very physical or a very aggressive verbal altercation, which right now we have neither. Yeah. I know you. And I said to him, I go, I'm asking you questions based on what you told me. You haven't answered one of them. You're giving me some ambiguous term like, I love air. Well, like, what the fuck does that mean?
They taught him real good at his political whatever class that he took.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
It's sad. It's sad 'cause I know the kid. I think he's a nice kid.
I remember because I took that political class in college. Oh, my.
It's probably the fucking worst.
It was horrible.
Probably brutal.
It was horrible. And that was 2013, 14, though. So that was right after the election.
Right. It was probably the worst.
Oh, it was miserable. I got to see in that class. Yeah. I guess my ideals were.
Yeah, I mean, I have, and speaking of the owner of this coffee shop, his daughter is an incredibly intelligent girl, going out to Adrian out there, and she is one of the few conservatives in her school. And she tells me all the time when she's here, she goes, Gary, sometimes I'm afraid because people follow to my car yelling at me.
It's weird because they label like the transference thing. I'm sorry to cut you off on that story.
No, it's fine.
they say that, the conservatives are the closed-minded people when it's really the liberals are the closed-minded people. And we discussed that previously before. But it's blatantly obvious.
Here you have a female, she's a very cute young woman who's afraid to speak up because people follow her to her car out of class and call her names. That is fucked. And her fucking professors encourage the other kids to attack her. And we're not talking, we're talking like not 1 or 2 on 1. We're talking like 10, 12 on 1. Where
that's what it is.
That is ridiculous. To be an adult, a supposed adult, and you're basically being paid they get paid very well, professors, for what they do. Yeah. And you're supposed to be in charge as the leader or commander, whatever you want to say, of your class. And you're allowing this shit to go on. Someone should take one of their fucking big pens and jab you in the fucking jugular.
Right in the aorta.
Because that is disgusting. And whatever happens to that, what's going to happen that person or someone like her leaves class and is like, I can't even open my mouth. They're trying to shut me down.
It's ridiculous. I was telling you when I was watching the Jordan Peterson videos. You get same shit, same hate. He's a fucking genius, this guy.
Right.
So he doesn't want to call you by your stupid gender pronoun.
Right.
Because it's ridiculous. It's all made up. There's like 70 something different gender pronouns.
I don't even care. No, I could care less. 2. Yeah. Right. That's all real. Go fuck yourself. I'm not calling you nothing. But it's you know what? You're either going to be he or she. And if you are a he that wants to be a she,
I'll call you that.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm not calling you anything else. I mean, if I call you it, you're going to probably get fucking pissed. No, he or she.
I wouldn't even know. I couldn't even tell you.
No one's going to believe me when I say this, but how come? Here's what I find funny. The big transgender thing. How come no transgender people are talking about it? that's
why? Because there's not many. That's why.
Well, they're not even upset. They're not even.
There's the smallest amount of population that this is the biggest little social issue for.
Well, I heard
another thing to take your mind off of serious issues.
Well, I did hear a funny story. Now I can recollect. I don't know what I think it was in California or Seattle, one of those liberal fucked up places. This police officer was a transgender police officer. Used to be a woman. Now she's a man. Yeah, okay. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think. That's what I think. Anyway, well, she was doing a flip flop, whatever.
Okay.
And she originated this parade. One of the originators of 3 for the pro transgender people. She shows up as an organizer. Now, she didn't meet all these people. They did everything by email and by mailings and phone calls. So physically, they never saw each other.
Okay. She
shows up to the meeting in her police uniform. She's not allowed in. So she says, wait a second. I'm one of the organizers. No, your police uniform threatens all of us. And she said, and it was great to hear her talk because you know what she said? The problem is not with conservatives and what they think of me. It's liberals.
It really comes, I hate to call it too on liberal. I hate to it's mental illness. It really comes down to mental illness. It does.
I think you're right.
It comes down like conservatism too. Like when you're that hardcore, there's like a little bit of mental illness driving.
A question to you.
Driving the fucking
How
train.
many hardcore mental illness liberal percentage do you think it is in this country?
Like the actual
big number.
Quarter, 25%.
I'd say
maybe
30,
higher. Yeah.
30, 35. Now, how many hardcore conservative mental illnesses do you think there are?
Around the same.
You think?
Maybe a little less, 20, 15, 20, 25. I really think that both sides are so warped.
Here's the only thing I might have to disagree with you because you don't hear many conservatives going to these things and being violent and attacking people.
Well, that's not a conservative thing. It never was. Like,
yeah, I don't think I do know there's probably some crazy and I'm not talking the Southern Bible thumpers.
Yeah,
well, I'm taking them out of the mix because because just like when I talk about liberal, I'm not talking about the hardcore anti abortion. The abortionists, not the anti-birth.
Yeah, I'm
not talking about them because they're always going to be there. I'm talking about just the ones that have kind of come to fruition over the last 8 years who are just. You're right. It's the ones who have mental condition. Like we know the fucking
mental issue.
Yeah, we know the crazy right wing Bible thumpers are.
Yeah, I'll break it down to you. Where we see these liberals that arose in the last 8 years with this mental issue. The mental issue for conservatism is guns. That's the fucked up. Like, I love guns. I love everything. I love shooting guns. I love everything. But that's where their mental issues come in, is when it comes to guns. Being so fucking stark, rigid, crazy about it, which you have to be. I'm not saying but there comes to a point where you have to give a little bit of acknowledgement.
You know what I think? I think the gun people, the NRA people, are afraid that if you take a little, then next time it's a little more, and then they take it all. And here's what they say: how come you don't take anything from the abortion people?
Exactly.
You take nothing from the birth control people.
Yeah, my point wasn't that.
No.
It's the people that do these atrocities.
It's a great point.
People that do all those fucked up shit to the guns.
Right.
There's not just because they love the NRA. They have a mental illness.
Right.
Mental illness. All these fucking idiots that you see out there with the liberals. Yeah. That's mental illness.
I agree. I think.
Or drugs.
You got to do
one or the other.
Yeah,
maybe both.
You got to do the check, the background checks for guns, obviously. Yeah. But that's a great point that you made, and that's actually a good one that you bring there. But I think what happens is the way the NRA people, and I'm one of them, they look at it as like, wait a second, why are we always asked to give? Yeah. But you never asked the abortion people to give shit. You know, matter of fact, they want to take more. They want more all the time. Where you don't give us back anything, but you will give them. They want later term abortions, whatever the case. So I think that's what
they develop their own mental illness.
And I think they're afraid that every time it's like the pack. I always call it the Pac-Man mentality. You give them a little bite, and it's like it goes up, and they take the whole fucking thing. So that's a good discussion. That wasn't even something I was going to bring up, but that's NRA, and that's a good thing.
But yeah, they're fucking these sides. It's the whole two-sided thing. That's insane. Maybe there should be more but it's too late now. It's like it's too late.
I know what I think? I would love to have no parties.
That's the way it should be.
Zero. None.
Blow it all up. None of these packs. None of this stupid shit.
No fucking parties.
None of these favors.
Joe Smith runs against John Doe, and you just fucking talk about your ideas. No political parties. No money. No nothing.
Yeah. That's the way we decide now.
Yeah.
No, take out all the lobbyism.
Yep.
All that other stuff.
Because you do that,
actually make it a job for serving the people,
right?
Instead of making money.
Yep. Yeah, and I even think that because here's another weird thing. It's like president makes, and President Trump's not even taking his salary, but they make about 400 and change. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and
then they get pension.
Well, for life, but it's crazy when you think about, like, if you want the guy, like, you're putting him in comparison to other people in the world. Like, you have the highest job in the world. Yeah. That's probably it.
Biggest figurehead in the world.
Right, biggest figurehead. But the guy is going to make money. They're going to make it illegally then. How do I'm always big on the math things. It always amazes me how these guys come out with making $140,000. These senators. Maxine Waters, you guys see when I looked at her numbers, we spoke earlier about her investing in Russia. When you looked at her numbers, what she has invested with Russia, she makes her salary is $146,000. She has over $900,000 cash invested in Russia at the moment. Now, that's only what we know about. That's what listen, I know a lot of people who make that much money. You don't have $1 million to throw around fucking investing. On a whim, boom. Plus, she owns all her properties.
Well, taxpayers a sucker is what it comes down to. It's just like they kill us.
Yeah, and they've
been doing it for 50, 60, 80 years, getting away with it. Yep. And now someone's in there trying to stop it. So what do? Everything they can do to kill them. And in the media.
This is what I don't understand about people who don't look at the whole picture. Why the fuck? And you just addressed it. Why the fuck would you want to do the same thing? Like, it's not working. It's broken. Listen, if it was broke for 8 years, I might have a little sympathy. It's been broken for fucking since 1968. It's broken.
Well, growing and getting better is hard. Staying the same and not changing is easy. You can be a bum forever, but to actually strive for the better, that takes like work. Effort and work. Why Why would I want to do that, man? Right. Give me my money, man. Give me my money. I had 8 kids for what?
Right.
Give me my money, man.
I mean, I always say, how come when a good person, and you hear about this all the time, or even a girl, and I'm not making it, even a girl, when they date someone who's a shithead, why do they always get dragged down? They rarely bring the shithead up. They always end up, you hear it all the time.
It's easier to be a shithead.
It's easier to be a shithead. It's easier to do. You're right. It's hard work to do.
It's hard work being a good person. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
You have to fucking work at it.
Yeah.
You could be a scumbag overnight. Like, if you don't fucking want to be good and strive for good, maybe you shouldn't be in the society. Maybe we should ship your ass to Australia like the Muslims want to go to. Like, that was the best thing I heard all week, is that they want to start in Australia. They want to have their own Muslim country in Australia. Fucking go.
And what's Australia saying? Go. They're allowing it?
Yeah, they want it. Go, please. Get all of them. Please go.
We should do the same thing. We put them in California. Yeah. I'll even give them Seattle. Let them fucking go. Take the whole fucking West Coast.
Fucking go.
And guess what we do? Just like you seen a new movie. Yeah. You get like a big drill or a big like saw, you just let it float out. It's like a cartoon you see. It just kind of floats out to sea. So let it fucking go. And you know what? Well, and there must be a rule that all the liberals have to live with them. They have to.
Oh my god!
They cannot leave.
Well, that should be a rule. If you gave money to the DNC, you have to take in a refugee.
Yes. 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 Now, I'm not a military-aged man, and watch how that goes, because I'll promise you, it's not going to go well. It will not go well. There's some sick motherfuckers out there. I read these stories every day. I watch someone. It's funny. People send me on my Facebook post. People send me the craziest shit. It's funny. I get the people who call me. They call for my death, and I gotta say they're usually from California. I hate to tell you, they're from the West Coast.
Every time we get hate, it's from California.
California, from over here. Seattle. I would say California and Seattle are pretty. I know one's a state and one's a city, but pretty fucked up places.
When I look at the people that give the hate to, I look at their jobs and everything. You're like, why is this person liberal? It doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Like,
exactly. But so you get that. Then I get the people who send me like the crazy Muslim posts.
Yeah.
And they're fucking disturbing. I mean, I watched my own. I remember my life changed a long time ago. There used to be a guy named Daniel Pearl. I don't know if you remember him. He was one of the first journalists to get captured. And he got captured, and they held him for a while, and they cut off his head. They severed his head. It was on. They put on. It was he was the first guy when the YouTube and the internet started really coming big. He was like one of the first guys to be seen.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but I couldn't sleep one night, and I think I had just gotten a computer. I know it's gonna sound fucked up. I just got a laptop.
Yeah.
I just got one, and it was late at night. I couldn't sleep. I pull it up, and the first, I mean, you don't ever want to see anyone get their head cut off, but you would think, if you ever watch like any movies, or you would think it would kind of be like the old, fucking Napoleon type.
No, it's Charles. They're hacking at you.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize at the time. Maybe I would, but then I didn't. I thought they got like and just like you watch like an old
fucking brutal.
Like if you ever watch Vikings or anything, it's like lop off, the head falls off. Nope.
They're using like a dull knife.
I have never, and to this day, that has disturbed. And we're talking a long time ago. I don't know if I gave you a date on this, I'd be lying if I knew exactly. But I'm guessing Daniel Pearl was probably around 1998. I'm guessing 99 maybe. They used and because what I did was I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
They used an old rusty sword. And they couldn't sever the spine.
Yeah.
He was screaming. And that day, I look at it as that being a good thing and a bad thing, because it was fucked up to watch. But that made me realize that how crazy, how violent, and just how off the charts nuts this group of people was. Because it's like something you see on TV.
No, it's way worse. I didn't see that one, but I saw one of them. You only got to see one to know.
Right.
I never want to see or
exactly
that happen to anyone.
Right.
Like,
and the only thing that happened,
it's not Game of Thrones where it's like you're saying it's not a quick. Yes. It's not a quick.
Yeah, that's what Game exactly.
They're
that's
fucking like
they were like sawing.
It's fucking unreal.
It's bad.
I mean, that when you think of terrorism, that's what should be done to those fucks when they get captured.
Right.
Like,
and the thing that bothered me, and this, believe it or not, I think if I'm not mistaken, this was a fellow Middle Eastern. When they put the guy in a cage and lit him on fire.
Wow.
What they did was I don't know if you saw it.
No.
They put him in a cage, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he was an Iranian policeman who was legit. He was a good man, and he was trying, and they caught him, and they put him in a cage. And what they did was they put gasoline in his cage, and they let it like a fuse, and they videotaped it, and he had his uniform on.
Oh my God.
And when they lit it, you see it was like you got to be this fucked up, and it went in, and then he went up, and you hear him screaming, and you say to yourself, wow, these motherfuckers are evil fucks.
Yeah, they're just evil, stupid, inbred fucks is what it comes down to.
They're setting human behavior back 800 years.
Yeah.
Worse.
And it's just like, the thing is too, what kills me, they're using social media platforms to get through, and it's just like
they're using liberals.
And it's just like, and they don't shut down the social media platform.
They
shut down.
They'll shut down you or Meetup, but they won't shut down a fucking a radical Muslim.
Yeah, it's like
the guy chopping people's heads off, lighting people on fire. They don't shut him down, but they shut us down for talking about. They shut me down for saying stuff about Hillary and Obama and cursing. Yeah. They shut me down.
The people trying to like recruit people to come in the Middle East. We'll let that one go.
Yeah, we'll let that one slide.
It's unreal.
It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. What else you got? Anything else?
Nah, we hit a bunch of points.
We hit a bunch of stuff today. It was a good show. So like we said last week or the week before, Sal and I are gonna upgrade pretty soon. We're still in the infancy stage, but we're gonna upgrade our equipment, so we're gonna be able to take calls, have guests. So probably over the next, I'd say, give us another 4 weeks. But we appreciate all your comments. We love that we hear from you guys. And I know last week, we still want to apologize. I know last week got fucked up with the sound. We just had a technical difficulty. We had a snafu, something that just happened. Yeah. But with that being said, I think we're going to close the show. Sal and the Gabagool out. And we're going to close the show with some.
We get it up when we find them.
We're going to get Soundgarden.
Yeah, we're going to say goodbye to our boy.
Chris Cornell. Very, very sad passing of that guy. Had an unbelievable modern day rock voice. So with that being said, Sound the Gabagool out. Have a great day.
Peace, everybody.
See you guys next week. Thanks for watching. How long did that go? Did we go an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, just about.
I think so.